Right from the very first second, you're not going to believe what happened in this quiet American neighborhood. Because when a little girl opened her front door during one of the harshest winter nights of the season, she had no idea that her single act of kindness would lead to police cars surrounding her home by the time the sun rose. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below where you're watching from. Your support keeps incredible stories like this alive. Now, let's begin. The storm that night wasn't just loud, it felt alive. The icy wind slammed against the windows so fiercely that the whole house seemed to tremble with every gust. Snow had gathered across the porch like a thick white blanket, rising higher with every passing minute. Inside that warm little home, 8-year-old Lily lay awake, listening to the storm howl like it was trying to swallow the world outside. But then she heard something the wind couldn't hide. A faint cry, a tiny whimper, almost too soft to be real. It was so out of place that Lily sat straight up, heart thumping, wondering if she imagined it. But then she heard it again, a sad, shaky little sound begging for help. She tiptoed to the front door and gently cracked it open, letting a burst of cold air hit her face. What she saw made every muscle in her body freeze. Huddled together on the porch steps were two tiny German Shepherd pups, completely soaked, trembling nonstop, and covered in bits of snow that clung to their fur like frost. Their little bodies looked so fragile that for a moment Lily feared they might collapse right in front of her. She didn't even think to call for her parents. The storm was too loud, and honestly her heart wouldn't let her wait. With her hands shaking from the freezing wind, she rushed outside, scooped both pups into her arms, and stumbled back inside. She kicked the door shut behind her as the wind nearly ripped it from her grip. The pups were ice cold, so cold that their paws felt stiff, almost lifeless. Lily immediately grabbed the softest blankets she could find, wrapped them around the puppies, and sat on the living room floor holding them close like they were fragile treasures she needed to protect. "It's okay," she whispered, trying to warm them with her breath. "You're safe now, I promise." Even though she was scared, her voice remained steady, as if her courage alone could keep those puppies alive. She didn't realize that the decision she made in those few seconds, choosing to take them in, choosing to fight for them, would bring a line of police cars outside her house before dawn. But for now, Lily didn't care about anything except the tiny lives in her arms. As the storm raged outside, Lily stayed right beside them, refusing to sleep. The power flickered again and again, threatening to plunge the house into darkness, but she didn't move. She found a small spoon and fed them warm milk. She grabbed her mom's old hairdryer, set it on the lightest setting, and gently warmed their frozen fur. She talked to them softly just to keep them calm and maybe to keep herself awake. Time passed slowly. The night felt endless. But the puppies started moving again, nuzzling into her lap, curling up near her shoulder, trusting her without hesitation. By the time the sky finally began to lighten, the storm had faded, but trouble arrived before peace did. Blue and red flashes danced on the living room walls, bright enough to wake the entire house. Lily rubbed her tired eyes and peeked through the curtains. Police cars, not one but several, surrounding her home like something serious had happened. A voice echoed from outside, firm and commanding, "Everyone stay inside, do not open the door." Lily's heart nearly stopped. She pulled the puppies close, shielding them instinctively, worried that somehow she had done something terribly wrong. She had no idea that what was about to happen next would change her life and theirs forever. Lily froze in place as the knocking thundered through the house. Her parents rushed into the living room, still half asleep, confused by the flashing lights outside. Before Lily could explain anything, a firm voice boomed again from the porch, demanding the door be opened immediately. Her dad unlocked it slowly, and when the door swung open, several officers stepped inside with urgency still written all over their faces. Snow clung to their jackets, their boots leaving wet prints on the wooden floor. One of them held a photograph in his gloved hand, and another scanned the room like they were searching for someone dangerous. Lily tightened her arms around the puppies, her pulse hammering. She didn't know what she had done wrong. She only knew she wasn't letting them go without understanding why the police were here. The lead officer took a deep breath, and his expression softened the moment he saw the two pups peeking out from Lily's blanket. His voice dropped, no longer forceful. "You're not in trouble," he said gently. "In fact, you may have done something incredibly important." He showed the picture he'd been holding. It was the same pair of German Shepherd puppies, only in the photo they looked cleaner, healthier, and clearly part of something official. The officer explained that late last night, during the height of the storm, a transport van carrying the pups had crashed on the North Highway. The driver had swerved to avoid a deer, and the vehicle flipped over on the icy road. He was injured and trapped until help arrived. The pups had gone missing in the chaos, lost somewhere in the freezing dark. Emergency teams had been searching through the night, and the trail eventually led them right to Lily's neighborhood. Lily felt the pups snuggle deeper into her arms as if they knew they were being talked about. The officer crouched down so he could speak to her at eye level. "You didn't just take them in," he said. "You saved their lives. If they had stayed out in that cold any longer..." His sentence stopped there, but Lily understood exactly what he meant. But then his tone shifted, more serious, heavier. "There's something you need to know," he continued. These pups were not ordinary rescues. They were being transported for a special program. They're being trained to help children who have experienced trauma, kids dealing with fear, loss, or things they can't even talk about. Lily stared at the pups as if seeing them for the first time. Their tiny paws, their warm noses nudging her hands, their gentle eyes, it all suddenly meant so much more. She hadn't just saved 2 lives, she had protected 2 future healers who would one day comfort children just like her. Her mom placed a soft hand on her shoulder and whispered, "Sweetheart, you did something beautiful." One of the officers stepped forward and said they needed to take the puppies to a veterinarian right away to check for frostbite and internal injuries. Lily knew it was the right thing, but her heart tightened as she reluctantly loosened her grip. When the officer carefully lifted the pups, one of them let out a sad little cry that made Lily's eyes sting with tears. She followed them all the way to the door. "You'll bring them back, right?" she asked in a shaky whisper. The officer nodded with a reassuring smile. "That's a promise." The house felt strangely quiet after they left. For days, Lily couldn't stop thinking about them. She kept the blanket they had slept on folded beside her bed. Every night she whispered a small prayer for them, and every morning she checked the mailbox hoping for news. Then one afternoon, a familiar van pulled up outside. The same officer stepped out, this time smiling, and behind him came the 2 puppies, healthier, a little bigger, and wildly excited. The moment they saw Lily, they sprinted toward her, their tails wagging like they remembered every second of the night she saved them. She dropped to her knees, laughing and crying as both pups covered her in affectionate kisses. The officer approached her with a proud smile. "The program has made a request," he said. "They want you to be part of their training, they trust you, and so do these 2. Lily looked stunned. "Me, but I'm just a kid." "You're a kid who didn't wait for someone else to do the right thing," he said. "A kid with the heart of a protector, and therapy dogs need people like you." For the first time in her life, Lily felt truly powerful, not because she was strong, but because she cared enough to act when no one else did. The pups curled around her legs as if claiming her as their own. From that moment on, Lily wasn't just the girl who saved them during a storm. She became part of their mission, a quiet hero whose single act of kindness would ripple outward into countless lives for years to come. And sometimes, the smallest hearts make the biggest difference. If this story touched you even a little, show your love by hitting like, dropping a comment, and subscribing for more powerful stories just like this one.